traditionally the women seen as this, the machines of, this household, and we're like so great. And even, when someone who is like you, professional, you're in medicine. So, but still there is more to that, you can have a profession, you can be a mother, you can be a wife, and there is other things. Like I've always had hobbies. I'm kind of person, I always like things, but I used to love crochet and all the other things, but and you feel like, so what is this going, it's all lovely and great, mashallah, you have kids, you're enjoying this, but then you think, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I anymore even, I do all of these things, I'm happy. Alhamdulillah, we have to be grateful for all the things. Yeah. But it only goes so far. And then you get those moments when you're slightly depressed. And, and now we know it's nothing to do with your iman, with your religion. It's not being ungrateful. It's about being that maybe I like other things. And that's okay, because you feel that I don't know. When you think about it, all you need to just, as long as you can ride, maneuver your bike and brake safely, that's it. And that's all you really need to know. And yeah, so I always,
this is such a fruitful session today, that not just about cycling that we are talking about a whole aspect of how a woman can, outgrow herself and transform herself through a particular activity. Could be cycling, could be anything, but today that we have an experience based.
So if this woman, this sister, was to listen to me and she was to take advice, so just do it.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another inspiring episode of Veiled Velocity. I'm your host Dr.Lubna Fatima, and today, honestly, I'm more than excited. I have with me someone who is not just breaking barriers but riding right through them. Alisha, a passionate and powerful force in the world of cycling. She is not just a cyclist, she is a lead road cycling guide. That's no small thing. She leads from the front, inspires through action, and creates space for women to take up road cycling with confidence, strength, and community. I deeply admire how Alisha merges discipline, fitness, and leadership values that are so close to my heart as well, especially through my journey with VelocityFit. Bringing her here isn't just about cycling, it's about celebrating women who push limits while staying true to their purpose. Alisha, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you for saying yes and for showing all of us what real velocity looks like on the road and in life.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Alisha, and I now live in near Birmingham in the United Kingdom. I met our lovely sister Lubna in cycling together in Birmingham, so where I lead weekly women's only rides. So we cycle, like we take local cycles. Sometimes we go for longer rides, sometimes we go for shorter rides. And we just try to enjoy our time. We just try to, get away from household, from the chores, from work, what have you, anything's possible. So we just get together and we try to, have good times, really.
Okay, Sister Alisha, a few questions that I would like to ask you regarding this. Can you share how you first got into cycling and what led you create a women-only led rides?
So, first in cycling, obviously I come from Russia. And as a child, it's a common thing, most of the kids can ride a bike. So I learned to ride on a very, very tiny bike. Used to be called the Bear. Everyone knew that bike. It's just every child. We only had like 3 brands, those are the post-Soviet times. Life was simple. So I still remember how my father, he brought that bike one day, and I was absolutely overjoyed. And the way to teach the ride, it's, like there is zero safety, obviously. Helmets, what is helmets? But I do remember him just literally, I got on the bike, he launched me, like he pushed me. I pedaled for a few, I don't know, maybe 3-4 meters. And then I just fell, and all of my hands were full of blood, my knees were grazed. And seriously, I got up immediately because I was too embarrassed to cry or anything. I got up back on and just continued learning. And that was the day I learned to ride. And, since then it was just, that's it.
That's the first
freedom,
learning.
Yes. And, at 7-year-old, we had quite a bit of freedom. As in, like, we can go, like, times were safer, I suppose. And it is where I was brought up as well, because Russia and my town was pretty safe. So I would just go and explore local areas that gave me kind of freedom. Look, at 7, I'm talking about this, yeah. So now what I hear from a lot of ladies who learn to ride as adults, again, is freedom. That word always comes up, I'm sure you felt the same,
Yeah,
there's this freedom.
approximately
So,
similar experiences. I had the same age group when I was, and we used to have cycle rentals. I didn't have my personal cycle at that time. We had cycle rentals for 1 hour, and we used to go and give that 1 rupee was the 1 hour rental,
oh,
and we used to give 1 rupee, and we used to ride for 1 hour, come again and give 1 rupee and ride for 1 hour. It was like that. And as I grew
oh,
up, as women, don't have those opportunities, and we don't like to go out in that way how we go in the childhood. And then I moved on to Saudi Arabia, and there we don't even have that. So as the time passed, but then now when I was in my 30s and 40s now around, so when I had the chance to go to the UK, I was like, I'm sure I'll have some kind of activity like that over there, and that was on my bucket list, that I would go on a cycle ride in that country. And it so happened that I could meet you there, and we had
alhamdulillah.
women only ride. That was so lucky for me to have that an opportunity with you. So Alisha, can you tell me something about uh, the first ride you might have led? What was going through your heart and mind that day? After having a childhood where you learned your cycling in
Yeah.
Russia, and with that particular cycle that you talked about, so fond of your cycle and that moments that you shared with us. Thank you so much for that, Alisha.
Because this is one of those memories when people say, when did you start riding? So well, when I was lucky, like I'm saying, because
Yeah,
this is the difference as well with a lot of women who I ride with
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah,
It's because, I mean, this is the biggest difference.
yeah,
And when you learn as a child, it makes you a lot more confident, because you're
yes,
a lot more agile. So obviously, I rode as a child, but then I stopped riding because, I mean, from Russia, where I come from, we only have about 3 or 4 months
hmm,
when the ground is free of snow. The rest is all snow.
yeah,
So it was only like a summertime activity. And as I moved to the UK, I used to ride to work for a bit, but then it was very difficult because we had this horrible, horrible, very steep hill.
hmm,
And when you're going to work and you have to face, it was like an 8, 9 hour long shift working the cake factory. This is the last thing you need, really. So then someone bought a car and was giving us lifts. So that was the end of cycling for me until after lockdown, when a friend of mine bought a bike, and she said, because, sorry, I forgot to mention, I was raised as a Christian.
mhm,
So again, there's a difference in that, you see.
yeah,
And so I accepted Islam, alhamdulillah, in 2009, just before I got married, and then obviously have children. And then cycling didn't come to my mind at all.
mhm,
But then I think we lived in London for some time. And then as we moved to Birmingham in 2015, I think I met a friend of mine introduced me to her sister. And then I start noticing in about, I think, probably 2018, 2019, before lockdown, that they would have some led rides. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I knew there was always all Muslim women, some, with niqab as well. So I thought, is that a thing then? Because for me, again, like when people say they don't understand how is it normal, I understand the thought process, because you think, I haven't seen others do it. Is that normal? And then when you see others do it, you think, well, it must be normal.
yeah,
Because you try to tell yourself, kind of asking yourself, why couldn't we do that? Because when I start thinking of cycling, oh my God, I loved cycling as a child. I would love to do it again. So anyway, that was on my mind. And so going back to the story, so after lockdown, my friend bought a bike. She said, well, I went with my husband in the park and it was so lovely. So they drove to the park, having their bikes in the boot, and then had like a couple of laps. I don't know if you've been to Sutton Park, Sutton Coldfield. It's beautiful, like really large green space, like forest and just field. So there's quite a few mileage you can do in there. And I thought, okay, let me do the same. So finally I convinced my husband. But first we only bought one bike. I said, okay, one bike we buy, and the next bike we can always rent, because we have as well those rented bikes. They're
mhm,
not 1 rupee, unfortunately. They're quite a
mhm,
lot more than that. But we thought, we could start. And that was me just starting to ride. And then I thought my husband would be like, oh, I'm busy today. I'm busy here, busy there. I said, you know what? I'm going for a ride now because it's in my mind now. So went on some rides by myself, didn't really enjoy it because, I mean, I didn't have the confidence, to be honest, because first of a thing, I was already, covering up. And the other thing is the roads are unsafe. So I'd find a park, do it there. I was lucky I was living then by kind of a green road that goes sort of makes a circle. So there is a bit of road, but most of it is all park. And I could do like a really large 16-mile loop, just mostly riding in the park. And then I got in touch with that friend's sister, and I said, "Look, what's happening about this bike rides?" And she goes, "Come and join our group." That was ACP. That's the group,
Right.
where we met as well. So
Which
I
year
wasn't
was
the one
that?
to set it up. I was
Which
the
year?
one to join it on the ride. And at that time, they didn't have a ride leader, kind of like a set ride leader in the club. They would always kind of pay an instructor from whoever, like cycling instructor, to pay and just lead the rides. It's very often was a man. Ladies didn't mind, but although it was called like women's only rides, but obviously they would have preferred if they had a ride leader who was a female. And so this ride leader, when I went to the ride, I was so nervous. I was thinking like, what is it like to ride in group? Because I was, maybe overthinking it
Speculating
a
a
bit
lot.
because speculating, overthinking, all of it. And so I thought, riding in group, are they going to be very fit? So I was just wondering, what is it like? Am I good enough, to do that? Because I was only riding by then, maybe a couple of months, like occasionally. And so I went to the group and I thought, like they were all just, there was no rush, there was no competition. It wasn't like a very sporty kind of adventure. It was just ladies
Friendly.
on bikes, going somewhere and coming back, and having some like interesting route just and to see Birmingham. And again, Birmingham had so many nice places. And kind of spurred on for confident I was in the bike. He said, "Would you like to learn to become a ride leader?" I said, "Oh, absolutely, why not?" And so yeah, the rest is history, really. Then I took over and been, going on since.
Which year did you say that you had your first lead ride?
Oh yes. So I joined ACP. The first ride was, I think, early 2021.
Okay.
Was it December 2020? I'm a little bit confused now, to be honest. And then so 2021, and then we had another lockdown. And then after that, they put me on a training for ride leader. So then I went to the training, done that. And then yeah, I've been riding regularly since because I mean there was nobody else for some time. I was kind of running the show by myself, really.
That's so lovely to
But
be
then,
walking through the whole journey that you experienced of becoming the lead ride, the lead in the lead ride. So that's really lovely and inspiring a lot because you being from a particular background and a country and coming to a country where you haven't been and then taking over those things which you for yourself also felt, it was kind of a difficult part. But then this makes me realize that so many times that women think of things that they cannot do, probably because it's there in their head that they have perceived that it is not possible. But when you see someone doing something that you aimed or you had a goal in your mind to do it, it makes it so much more easier. I would say that's the effect of Jama'ah.
mm,
You know, that
absolutely. No, 100%, you're right. This is
passively also
what
you
it
get
is.
so many things into your head.
Yes, yes. Power in numbers as well. To
Yeah,
quote English language
alhamdulillah. So
idioms,
even
but
one sister who might be, strong and integrity oriented, sincerity oriented, would affect so many, that particular
yeah.
sister whom you had taken your inspiration by seeing her, uh, was so powerful that even when I came to UK, you were one of the lead ride, leaders, and then I could take that confidence and bring it on here in Hyderabad. So it's just such a big circle of integrity and sincerity that causes a ripple effect basically. So
Yeah, it does, 100%. It's just amazing, how can one thing, and then I always look back to that because my life before the cycling in the group, before this ACP, I keep saying ACP just for those people who don't know, it's called Asiana
yeah,
Community Project. We should call it short for ACP.
yeah,
So they're community organization, but we are just like branch. We do just the bike rides. We don't do anything else with them. But the thing, it's spurred on all these other activities. At the end of the day, when we're all Muslim, we just have this, within our ummah, we have this understanding, isn't it, of each other. And I'm married to a Pakistani, so I do have a good understanding of the community, of the customs, of the culture, because obviously I had to adapt and learn a lot about that. So it is, you meet one day, okay, I've known this and I've known that. And with our rides, because we advertise it to like anyone and everyone, obviously, any women always welcome. That brings women from different backgrounds. And I would say the strength that we get from each other is that we get to share the stories.
yeah.
So this is why before I joined ACP, they weren't having coffee stops. So this is one sort of thing kind of slowly became a tradition with us.
Yeah, because
And because we
normally I see that in UK
chat,
they have coffee mornings, and if you integrate both of them together, having a cycling ride and then also a coffee stop would have been the best match together.
absolutely, because at the end of the day, you want to have a good time.
Yes.
And when I started riding, because I used to ride with this other club, and they were like very sporty, very fast road rides. And I was kind of into speed as well, and getting faster and longer. But then riding with the ladies, slowly it become for me more important. It's not the mileage, is the fact that we are outdoors. We go to see nice places, because when I plan rides, we'd always think of what are the good routes so we can enjoy the scenery, avoid very busy roads, and so we can really have, a pleasant time. Excuse me. And so the coffee stop is again where we share our stories, where we share I mean, we can, moan to each other about things not maybe going well. So it is, like therapy in a way. And because we have women from such different backgrounds, we have, all different countries, different religions. So it really is, we find it like cycling is like an equalizer, where we realize we're all the same at the end of the day, we're women. We like to, have good time. We like to sit and chat and, share our stories. So it's a really, really nice feeling, and then once you meet one lady from, say, one activity, now we spurred on to have some paddle boarding sessions. So now, that kind of opened the door as well. And we're trying to normalize that towards wearing hijabs as well. So, it is work in progress, of course, but
Yes, yes.
It is lovely, it's a
I was
good
lucky enough
community.
to share one of the rides with you and have that coffee stop at a place where I had enjoyed ginger cake for the first time, and it was so lovely. That gathering was so nice to, enjoy as well. I would really have all those moments are like, fantasy moments for me and fairy tale kind of moments for me. uh, as we were talking about this
Describe you how
hijab
happy that makes me.
experience, Sister Alisha, as a hijabi leading from the front, what has your experience been like? Have you faced moments of resistance or empowerment because of your visible faith?
Like, because when you're on the bike on the road, you're already kind of a baddie, because the driving attitude in England, and I'm sure in many countries of the world, it's very, they have entitlement,
Hmm.
They don't like to share the road. They think, who are you as a biker? I'm here on in my car, I'm very important.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, although, like legally, I'm not sure about India, I'm sure it's something similar, but in England, as a road users, we shouldn't be riding, like cycles shouldn't be on the pavement, you
Mhm.
know. Pavements are for people, for not people, as in
Okay.
like
Mhm.
pedestrians,
Okay.
walking people. And the road is for, for any
Rider.
wheels, but people don't see that. They think like you buy get off the road thing.
Okay.
Is when the males were leading, they kind of have again this feeling of more entitlement. They're very assertive, the way they lead. So this is something I had to pick on from them. So how do they deal sometime? And sometimes you get a cheeky driver who's trying to overtake you dangerously. So to me, I would just hold my hand up and say, stop, and have the eye contact with the driver and say, no, you wait there. We are going here because this is our, say, we have priority. I avoid using people normally say right away. It's not ideal because I'm a cycling instructor myself, so I have to, use the right terminology. We don't say right away because again, we're not entitled to it, but we have the priority, and by the we have a highway code, like the law of the road. I know where I'm going, and if I'm right, I'm gonna take the road, and I'm gonna make it like, eye contact or, by gestures. So they make it kind of, okay, so fine. We're not gonna mess,
So it really makes
And like my friends used to,
it really makes
go on,
the
sorry.
leader to be very confident, right? So someone who's confident can take up this challenge of leading a ride.
This is what my friends joke. They say, "Oh, Alisha had to bring her Russian out." They say, they "Don't wake the Russian."
Yeah.
Sometimes they say, "Don't listen." They say, "Don't wake the Russian," because it might get in trouble. But no, I'm not like thing. But you have to be assertive. You have to say, and you have to feel that, like you're saying, power could be anything. It could describe it as anything. But if I'm in charge of the group and the people rely on me for their safety, I have to take the lead and I have to show them, and just not be shy about it.
Yeah. So bringing to this point where you, put into light how as a person itself, you have to be so confident. How do you think this journey of becoming a leader for the rides changed you personally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically? Can you just put some light on those aspects as well?
Well, yes, it has changed me a lot. It kind of brought out this, because I think when I accepted Islam and I started wearing hijab, I was sort of, because, it's a huge thing. I don't think any non-revert person could quite appreciate how much difference it would require. It's not just the religion part, it's just your whole outlook on life changes.
Yes.
I was a lot younger. Still not in my own country as well, because in England, well, by then I lived about 3-4 years, something like that. So you still have the language barrier a bit, then you have this because I got married straight away, so then it's a different culture with my husband, and so I became a lot more reserved, should I say, unsure of myself, and more kind of doubted myself a lot. Because you doubt everything then. Because I'm saying it's just like you've been put from Earth, they put you on Mars, and then you're supposed to adapt.
I can understand how difficult it would have been for you to, navigate yourself through all those roller coaster experiences.
Yeah, so that changed a lot about my confidence, because my whole life I've been fairly confident, I would say. I've always taken part in things. I was brought up with music as well. I was back home. I graduated as a violin teacher and artist of the orchestra. So I was on stage my whole life. So it's I didn't have any problems, but I'm saying it did affect me once I came to the different country, different language, then different culture as well from my spouse and everything. So I lost a bit of that, it was like, it just not, I would say it's not nice, but it really shakes your world a bit. And since cycling, it kind of undone all of that. Because then you have to show your strength, and I was always proud to show my strength, and I was proud to think like, I've learned it, I know what's right, so I'm just gonna stick by it. And that brings you up, because then when you get feedback from people, like yourself, and by the way, it's really, it means a lot when people get back to it. So what, this changed, that really kind of done it for me, something ticked. So this is, mashallah, it's really good, so when you get feedback, you think, what, maybe I'm okay, I can, do different stuff.
So it's kind of gives you a stage to, renew yourself, probably, the way you put yourself in a closed shell with all those things going around you. cycling gave you an, outbreak from all that, and then it brought your older self again, where you were confident. And so now that I hear from you, I understand that a person can be confident initially and can lose all that confidence with some situations in life. But at the same time, if they make an effort, go out and try to make that change, it is possible.
Yeah, it is possible, yes. Like, but then again, you have to have this outlet to do this,
Yes, you should
and
know
you
where
have to have
exactly,
the
and you
supporting
should have the
people.
opportunity.
Yes, and that's why we are lucky. I think when you're doing it in sports rather than, say, if I was running like a book club or something, somehow.
Yeah,
Because again, there is this element of therapy and mental health improvement because you're meeting other women.
yes,
And when you go out cycling, do any exercise, you're automatically a lot more happier,
yeah. Because you're
and
matching
then
two
you're
activities
doing
together,
something good.
that you're doing a
Yeah.
cardiovascular activity and you're seeing the scenes around you, that, combines two activities together.
And eating cake. That's the third one. Eating cake is very important. So yeah,
Yeah,
they go 3 in 1 actually, not just
yeah,
2 in 1.
yeah,
But yes, absolutely. It is, you're right, 100%. So it does, make you a lot more alive, I would say, because I've been getting busy from, time to time, and kind of with life stuff, apart from my volunteer. I need to maybe do it once a month, maybe do it twice a month. And then I would speak to people, and they understand in the club. And then what I've done is, when we had the kind of good cyclists, I've always inspired others to take the step as, look, train as a ride leader, because I can't always be there. And then since I actually moved my house, so I'm not sure how many people would know, Wolverhampton is like a smaller town. It's still an easy commute to Birmingham, so I have to commute like almost every week. But I say, look, it's a bit difficult sometimes for me, sitting on all the traffic and all of that. So someone else has to be there in case I'm not there. And mashallah, we've got now, that's me, is a 4 with me. Yeah, so 3 extra ride leaders.
yes,
And it's lovely. But then again, we still want to come every week and ride with each other because we love it so much. And in the UK, it's not very good today.
yeah,
But what I was saying, so with the weather in the UK, they say everyone criticizes, say, oh, like, weather is only one season whole year round. And I say it's true, but this is good for cycling because
yes,
it's never too hot, too cold, really, so we can cycle all year round, this, which is a huge difference to like back home where I come from, Russia, north of Russia,
yeah.
where we had snow. There's obviously don't even think of cycling, so, but anyway, yes, please, back to you.
That's true. That's true about the weather in UK. Even when I enjoyed cycling over there in UK, that was the case. I was so loving the whole atmosphere, the whole feeling of going through the cycle rides and all. I would never have missed it unless I had to come back again. But I'm always looking forward to coming back to UK and have those rides again, inshallah. So
Inshallah, waiting for you, sister.
yeah, that brings me to another very connected question, that is, what does it mean to you to create a safe space just for women, especially Muslim women, in the public outdoor space?
So this means like really everything, because like I said before, we are quite isolated. And the community that the club is based in, it is predominantly South Asian, Muslim, it's not very well-off community either. So it is so important because what we do as well, we're thinking of cycling, you automatically think, do I have a bike? So with our club, what we do is we provide bicycles for the duration of the ride. So we have a fleet of about 11 bikes, helmets, and like the high visibility jacket vests, for safety, to be seen on the road, the bright and pink, very beautiful. But so this is one of the biggest mission for us, because like I told you, coming from the background where I wasn't in any way disadvantaged, in a way, like they say, the white, what they call it, white, what's the word they use? Privilege.
Mhm.
So yes, privilege. So in a way, obviously back home, in Russia, and I'm not Russian actually ethnically, and I never considered myself Russian while
Okay.
living in Russia because it's a big thing there. So if your ethnicity is anything else, you don't call yourself Russian because even my passport says Lithuanian.
Mm.
Even though I'm a born Russian citizen, but because my father is from Lithuania, my mother is, although she was born in Russia, but she's German.
Mm.
And so it's like we don't think, culturally. I mean,
What a mix of cultures and ethnicities you have,
it is,
mashallah.
I don't
You've
this
just come
maybe this
around
is
the
what
world.
makes me easy to understand others,
Yeah.
So
That you're from such a myriad background, having a mother from Germany, father from Lithuania, living in Russia, coming to UK and marrying a Pakistani husband and knowing different languages. Actually, Alhamdulillah, it makes you have a mindset where you are open to anything at any point of time. That makes you a
exactly
strong
what I said
personality.
actually, Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It makes you more, I mean, for me personally,
Yeah.
I am so interested in all like in different cultures. I always like, like obviously I'm not as fortunate enough to, travel much, but I've always been interested in learning about other cultures, about other communities. And so it is helpful for me in terms of understanding and kind of I feel excited. And maybe that helps me to carry on sometime.
Yes.
Because I know we're gonna meet someone new or we're gonna, come together with different cultures and religions and personalities, so it is very interesting. And like I was saying, in Sparbrook the community is diverse, but it's not very well off community, so it is very important for us to the fact that we provide the bicycles, we look after our own bicycles, we service them, we provide helmets. So if you're someone who's a woman who thinks I can't afford a bicycle but I want to maybe try cycling,
Yeah.
then we have the facilities. You just come, just bring yourself, and we'll sort you out, we'll get you on the bike. The other thing is a lot of women, and this is what I hear, again, this is not my own kind of a fact, but I am told that a lot of women, especially South Asian women, they have not learned to ride a bike as
Yeah.
girls because
Yeah.
it was something that's activity for the boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of our women are like that. So the other thing is what we do. I don't run those sessions because I simply don't have the time now, but
Mm.
we have an instructor, a lovely Indonesian lady who teaches ladies to ride. So we have ladies in their 60s and 70s coming and learning to ride a bike,
MashaAllah,
and the
that's such an
joy they
inspiration.
experience from it.
Yeah.
It's you know what? This is just one of the most amazing things because they said this
Yes.
is a total, life turnaround, And when you see them getting those, first pedals when they're riding on the bike and they're gliding, it's just, oh, it's,
Sense
words
of
can't express
achievement,
it.
comes to a height.
Absolutely. And it's for you as well. It's not just for them,
Yeah.
we like selfish in the way, in the terms that like we enjoy it so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is partially why we do it, because we see the effect it has on many lives. Because otherwise, what would the lady would be doing, would say auntie, what would she do?
Mm.
What
Mm.
other, traditionally the women seen as this, the machines of, this household, and we're like so great. And even, when someone who is like you, professional, you in medicine, so, but still there is more to that, you can have a profession, you can be a mother, you can be a wife, and there is other things. Like
Yeah.
I've always had hobbies. I'm kind of person I always like things, but I used to love crochet and all the other things, but they all
Were giving that if women at this point of time in their life haven't had such an activity, they would have just sat idle at home, and that would have brought in their depression and everything. The mental state brings them to a point where they don't like their life at all. And here I just want to emphasize on the effect that you were emphasizing, that the if someone would have the chance to sit a person down and explain to them what mental health is and do this and do that, instead of that, bringing them on and giving them a training in the cycling ride, and that's doing the job, like doing two jobs with one
absolutely.
activity.
No, absolutely 100%. Like you said, this depression, because even for me, okay, I'm not in my 60s yet, yeah, but as a young, once I got married, I had the children, kind of short, 2 and 3 years apart. So kind of dedicated myself to motherhood. I thought I was happy, but then this loneliness strikes at some point, and you feel like, so what is this
What
going,
next?
It's all lovely and great, mashallah, you have kids, you're enjoying this, but then you think, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I anymore even? I do all of these things, I'm happy. Alhamdulillah, we have to be grateful for all the things, yeah. But it only goes so far, and then you get those moments when you're slightly depressed, and and now we know it's nothing to do with your iman, with your religion. It's not being ungrateful.
Yeah.
It's about being that maybe I like other things, and that's okay, because sitting down things.
Yes, again, it
And
makes you sit down, and so many activities actually suit a particular age group or a particular time in your life. Probably crochet would help someone who's in her pregnancy's last days, right? Like she can sit down and do it. But if someone is like having a rush of hormones and they just want to break it out and they don't have any activity to go out, that would have mattered a lot to them. So it's really great to know so much from you on this aspect, Sister Alisha, that it is making such a big difference in the mindset of people and the people who are old as well. It's giving an goal to them. It's giving an aim in their life or a self-worth moment for them. Because whenever I speak about mental health awareness, I'm always told this, that, if people work on themselves and they keep improving themselves, is a great service to themselves and the society as well. So if cycling being one of the activities that would grow that person mentally, physically at the same time, and mentally stable, that's such a great gift that someone would have. And I feel so lucky to have you as a friend, and knowing you as a person, and having you as a leader throughout my rides. And today that I know you more, that you're from such a versatile background, I feel even more lucky.
thank you, sister. Thank you. No, but it's true, because we all come out together and we share our lives and we share that, like, I mentioned therapy more than once, but I said this is the thing, when we sit and because before you're a bit afraid to admit, oh, I'm feeling a bit sad because I feel like I want something else, and then so there is this kind of bias towards women, like, be happy, with what you've got, mashallah, you have family, some people don't even have that, so, but then when you talk to other women, it's like we are so similar in many ways, and it doesn't mean you have to be exceptionally sporty, to say take up cycling. It could be an easy community, and this is one of the things that I emphasize in my group, because I know we have quite a few clubs in Birmingham, with Muslim women, but a lot of times they say, okay, these are beginner rides, so they're very easy. These rides are for like people who want advanced, who want to be more sporty and do longer mileage. And I say, okay, so then we need a club who is focusing on the woman just having a good time. So if you're up for a mileage and you can do it, I'm happy to take it with you. So let's say 5 people met, and all 5, I know their feet, and obviously then you learn about people. I said, we'll go and do a longer ride, and then we'll have, a nice cake for this, after. But then sometimes we get people who are beginners. I say, don't be ever afraid to come. If you know you can ride a bicycle, because obviously I do only the lead rides on Thursdays, just come. If you find yourself, a bit out of breath, or you can't ride as much, still come. We'll ride slower, and we will support you, in the way that this is kind of my main idea of the cycling, is that you have to have a good time, you have to enjoy it. If you want to cycle once a month, that's fine, come over. It doesn't mean that sometimes people say, oh, if that's cycling my thing, it doesn't have to be your thing, but you might want to ride even once in 3 months. Just go for a ride, enjoy yourself, have this day to something like an activity to remember, and then you don't have to come every week. If you want to come every week, that's fine as well. Come every week and ride if you want to. If you want to progress, you can always, think like take up challenges. We've kind of established a group where we take challenges, even we do walks as well, not just riding bicycles. and discover all these beautiful places you haven't seen before. Because I
Yeah.
tell you what, you know, when I moved to Birmingham in 2015, I thought, what a place.
Yeah.
I was not impressed at all. You know, our
Okay.
local area is it's not like the best, you know, it's kind of okay, but it's not the best. You know, after London, it just
Especially
didn't
when you
stay.
had already been to London and then come to
Yeah,
Birmingham.
you know, and I was like, what is this, you know? But okay, no problem. And then we'd find one park or two parks, you know, we drive, you know, take kids, obviously, you know, I'd always look on Google Maps, find the green space, go discover. But now with the bicycle, because it's so much faster, and with the car as well, it's sometimes a lot longer to get somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine you have to go main roads, you know, drive
Mhm.
around. With the bike, you just go through everything, isn't it? It's almost like walking, just a lot faster. So this is one of the kind of benefits that you discover so many beautiful places.
Especially
And now,
the routes that
yes,
I was able to explore with you, they were so amazing. Probably that's the reason even I feel, that I should come back again, which many other of my friends do not feel probably, what kind of a
yeah.
place, like, why would you want to go back again? Probably like that. But why I feel like I should be coming again is because I've seen those routes which people haven't seen in years, who are living in Birmingham themselves. They haven't seen those routes,
Yeah.
and they didn't see that beauty of Birmingham themselves. So when I,
Forget
consider
about
that,
me. Yeah, look, I came in Birmingham in 2015. I didn't know it very well, yeah, apart from like few main parks. I had the same being told by ladies who were born and bred in Birmingham, who are like in their 50 maybe, yeah, 50 years old. And they say, we never seen Birmingham until we started cycling.
yes, yes,
And they say 40s, maybe 30s, yeah. So in these few years since they started cycling, they learned a lot more about Birmingham, and sometimes we go slightly out of Birmingham, you know, again, depends on the skill level of the participants. So, but we find these amazing, amazing places you would have never gone to,
yeah.
you know. And while we're getting there as well, it's quite nice, you know. And when the weather permits as well, and so like today is very beautiful and sunny, and I'm hoping tomorrow it should be, inshallah, the same. So
When is
you know,
your
with the tomorrow, yeah,
tomorrow?
tomorrow is the usual Thursday, you know. So I've just this morning I've put up a list, and so let's see how many people sign up, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then where we go, and we'll be enjoying the sun, you know, because that's the other thing. When you go out cycling, you spend more time outdoors,
Yeah.
you know, because just get out of the house. And
So many benefits
every single
together.
woman said
So many
it.
benefits together.
It's
And Sister
this
Alicia,
is
I was
so good.
reminded of a situation when you were describing that, we are so open to calling up women to come to join the ride without thinking of the complexities that, will you be able to do it? Will you not be able to do it? And I'm reminded of a situation when I was riding with you, and at a particular height, I was not able to, take up that ride anymore. I was feeling breathless, and I was amazed to see the whole dedication throughout the whole group, that the whole group turned back. They said, no, if you're not able to write, we'll go back. No problem. And that's how I felt so inclusive of myself, that, that amount
Yeah,
of care that group has, especially ACP with you, and, the lead rides with you, and most of the women led rides, I see that you're so caring in that sense, that you first care that women are coming out is more important, and then looking after their health is the first and foremost priority, mashallah.
absolutely, 100%, you know, because I have to think of and remember how I used to feel like before my first ever ride. I was thinking, can I do it? Even though I was fairly fit, you know, now when I look back, I knew I was probably fitter than many women who do come
Mhm.
on rides. But in my head, I thought, is what is this like? You know, I don't know. Can I do it really? And had it not been for that friend, I wouldn't. I don't think I would have joined the ride because I'd be
Mhm.
thinking I probably won't be able to, you know, keep up. Maybe they're all like semi-professionals and stuff, you know, but maybe there is some sort of skill that I don't know. When you think about it, all you need to just, as long as you can ride, you know, maneuver your bike and brake safely, that's it. And that's all you really need to know.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I always remember that when, you know, when you get new people, because it's very, very important to let people know it's okay, you know, however you can ride the bike, just get on and give it a try.
That's so wonderful from you. Sister Alisha, there's so many questions coming up there, and so much less time remained. But I still want to finish off with all the questions because this is such a fruitful session today. That not just about cycling that we are talking about a whole aspect of how a woman can, outgrow herself and transform herself through a particular activity. Could be cycling, could be anything, but today that we have an experience based talk on specifically on cycling. But then the next question that I want to ask you, Sister Alisha, is there a moment or a story from one of the rides that you'll never forget?
I think there's quite a few really.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one should I
A very fond story of yours where you think that, it's an unforgettable one.
Because you see, this is the thing. I don't want to sound funny, but it's just every week I go, yeah. And these days, and I was telling someone recently, I'm dreading the commute, because I have to take this motorway, which is always busy, and you get stuck in traffic. And once you enter Birmingham traffic, it's even worse. There's like roadblocks or roadworks or what have you. But it's getting there, it's pain. But what happens after, it just erases all of that pain. And I have to remind myself sometimes thinking, okay, commute annoy you, don't want it, you're dreading it, but just do it, because after when I come back, I have a huge smile on my face. And I've seen the goals, we inspired, we cheered each other on it. It's not a joke, we're not saying this for just like, oh, this is so lovely, like let's do this, to promote our activities. No, this is exactly what it is. We meet each time, we tell jokes, we sometimes we share our problems and like things we don't. And like I did mention before, so we all realize how all similar we are, and also in different ways we are different. We have totally different likes and dislikes, and we have totally different characters. So for me to kind of put, okay, what is the most memorable rides? Do you know what? They're all just lovely. And I think one of the most memorable would be the first one, probably, isn't it? So the first one is the one I led. Right. When I trained, I turned up for the next ride. I was meant to there was another ride leader from another club came to join us. And I kind of assumed that they will be leading, because at the time I still didn't know many routes, and just what you find with Google, you always have to check before the ride because you never know. It says the road, but you don't know how busy it is, and we always like to avoid the busy roads. Anyways, so I turned up with the ride, and they tell me, "Congratulations, Alisha, you lead the ride today." And I'm
Okay.
what?
Surprise.
And they're like, no, you can do it, it's fun, And I said, okay. And, I rose to the challenge. I always rise to the challenge, I can't show, like, inside I was like total panic, but I can't show it, too much pride. And so I led the ride. I checked with Google, and then I kind of knew loosely what the route was like. And I thought, okay, so the ladies, they knew exactly where they wanted to go. And I said, okay, so we'll do that. So we went there, and the road I chose, I didn't realize just how busy it was. It seemed like just a normal road, but and it is known to be a really kind of busy, non-cycle friendly road. Anyway, I just carried on. We had quite a large, I think up to 10 people we probably had. And those were kind of mixed abilities in terms of people don't always follow instructions, so sometimes they put themselves in danger, but their own kind of mistake. But then again, if I'm responsible for the rest of the people, it doesn't make it could, add extra worry. But so it was like a fairly decent group, and I said, okay, let's go. So we went there, and maybe because the group rode fairly well, the one thing that did happen though, there was a huge roundabout, and one of the exits was exit to the motorway. So it's a slip road to go to the motorway. And I don't know, do you call it motorway in India as well?
Highways, we say it as highway.
Highway, okay, yeah. So it's the busiest roadway. Obviously, cycles are absolutely not allowed. It's only the cars. And anyway, so sometimes you look at Google, you think it's a left, and you think, okay, that's the left, and there I'm going very confidently, showing like left, for everyone to take left. And as I'm about to turn off, I realize it says M5. which means it's a highway. And I was like, no. And then I said, I was like, sorry, start waving as in like start signaling, no, we're going straight. And then there was next, like next exit. But that was like something where I was like, oh my God, I nearly took a group of 10 riders on the motorway. That was
There must
just
have
gonna
been
be,
so
no
much
going
rush
back from
of
that.
chemicals in you, and so much stress probably at that moment.
Yeah. Oh yes, and alhamdulillah, like I'm saying now when I look back, I'm happy with myself the way I did because I reacted very quickly. Because
Yeah,
I did signal left, people obviously prepared, to go. This is the good things when you signal in advance, people know you're not going
yeah.
straight left, because if
A
people
great
just
learning that
started
you have.
turning straight,
Yeah, a great
obviously,
learning
yeah. So I
at the
slowed
very
down, then I
beginning of your
realized, I kind
experience.
of started waving, no, no, no. Yeah, and then alhamdulillah, the disaster was avoided. So we took the right entrance. We found the way. The way back, I took a different route. I thought we had a route by canal, which was a bit like kind of a bumpy, but I thought, I'm not going through that stress anymore because
Yeah,
that busy road kind of had for me, with all these drivers overtaking dangerously, and the other one. And then I remember the next week, I saw this instructor. He used to come still sometimes, the cycling instructor who kind of suggested that I do the ride leading. He was like, Alisha, I heard you, no, it was actually a team meeting or something we had. Anyway, he goes,
yeah.
Alisha, I heard you took them on Soho Road. And I said, oh yeah. And he said, you know what, if you do that again, I might have to come back. I said, no worries for that. I said, firstly, I was thrown under the bus by being kind of designated ride leader for being the newest addition. And I said, you know what, I'll plan my routes better.
Yeah,
And so this is again my lesson, that you don't just turn up and say, I kind of know this road, I
yeah.
drove on it, driving and riding on the bike is two completely different things. So
But the first
yeah, I'm
place, you
always
were also surprised, right? So it was a surprise for the whole thing, and it was destined that the followers you had that day, the riders that you had that day, it was destined that they would ride the Soho Road unimaginably going with you.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. At some point as well, there was like a midway through the ride before that disaster happened. Well, not actually disaster. I prevented disaster in a way,
Yeah,
almost created it, and then, alhamdulillah, avoided it. But there was another road as well. It's kind of going up a hill, and it was a 40 miles an hour limit, which, you wouldn't want to ride road like this on
yeah,
bikes. So the car's going to be, racing past. Wasn't very busy. I said, no, guys, we're gonna have to go slightly around it, but we'll choose like a smaller roads and this. So for me, like constantly navigating, looking at Google and like finding. Now, obviously, we know there are better apps for
yeah,
it. I don't know
yeah.
if you use Komoot in India,
No, no,
Komoot,
no.
because you can actually choose that it's not just cycling, because
Mm.
Google still takes you on busy
Yeah,
roads.
okay.
But with they are specifically for like kind of what's it called? There's a specific side. There is a road cycling and there is like a exploring sort of cycling. So
Okay.
you would always choose park over a road.
Mm-hmm.
So this is quite good. So we have tools, in
Yes,
place, and it is getting better, obviously.
yes.
And then again, you live from experiences. So
Yeah, that's great knowing from you, Sister Alicia. Coming to another question of ours, we had such a fruitful experience and talking to you and gaining more knowledge on the whole experience. What are some unexpected challenges you had to face, and how did you push through them? Is there any particular situation that you would like to bring to light?
So the challenge is, and it's probably something for, if someone who is looking to set up a club, maybe, obviously it's not every single ride is like absolutely fabulous. We occasionally, maybe in how many years I've done it now? 2021, was it now 20? So nearly 4 years, we had maybe two not so great. So you have to be mindful of people falling off bikes because you can have an accident. Uh, I know I'm lacking that sense. I haven't had it, but I know of someone who had it, some like other ride leaders. So again, you're learning from other people. So when you have a network as well of ride leaders, it's a bit easier because then something happened to them, they will share it with you, and then you learn from other people's experiences, which is easier. And occasionally you had people who would be like I did tell for us important, it's all about vibe, it's all about well-being, that we want to come and enjoy the ride. But occasionally you get people who are like, can't we ride a bit faster,
Oh,
or they're not as patient.
Yeah.
So you have to always kind of very gently remind a person that not everyone is of the same ability.
Yeah.
And
Especially
sometimes
when
it
you're
kind
in a
of,
group-led ride.
yes, 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 yes. Sometimes, you're right. Obviously, I'm most of the time I'm at the front
Mm.
because I'm guiding the people. So, and I have a ride leader at the back, supporting. But sometimes someone who is like almost right next to you, and they would see the green light, come on, Alisha, we're gonna make it. And I say, I need to think for the group, the 10 people behind me, can we all go through the light? So always slow down. If it's still green, yeah, I'm gonna go. When it's light is orange, you never go because they're not gonna be able to, pass in like 2-3 seconds. So when you get I say orange, amber light, and sometimes people are like, oh, we could have gone through, like they get impatient. And so this is one of those kind of things that sometimes you have to, and sometimes the manner I speak, and the people say like, I'm very direct, maybe, being brought up in Russia. For me, I had to learn to be very self-conscious is how I speak, because sometimes I don't even mean badly some, but if I say kind of just normally, like without any expression, might they say, oh, you're very strict, and I said, really? I said, but
Unless
I
they
was,
know you better.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I said, I didn't mean it like that at all. I was just saying kind of maybe
Casual.
less enthusiastically. So for me, I have to put some energy into kind of appearing, think of what I must look like from the other point of view. So even when I'm giving kind of, I don't want to tell people off. If you come on the ride, and even if maybe you've not been as graceful as others, but I wouldn't want to tell anyone off, because at the end of the day, we are all adults.
Yeah.
If I'm ride leader, doesn't mean I'm like the boss of anyone. As I'm there to kind of for your safety, to provide it, to accommodate you, but I'm not there to kind of, be in charge of your day in a way. So these are the kind of nuances, how you deal with different characters,
Yeah.
how you deal with people who are maybe occasionally a little bit less patient with others. So, you remind people sometime, and these are I would think,
Yeah.
the more.
The challenge is to be being like a teacher, it's the same situation where you're in a class and you're teaching a group of children and you have to handle a different, backgrounds of people. And it's the same thing that in any scenario that you might go. So that brings me to the next question, Sister Alisha, that what would you say? This is a very important question for you because what would you say to the women listening who want to start riding but feels too shy, too unfit, or too unfit or too unsure because of her background or body? So how would you inspire her to get on this journey of cycling or any sport that she is liking onto?
So if this woman, this sister, was to listen to me and she was to take advice, so just do it. That's it.
You just
Just
said
don't be
that
afraid to,
we just need
if
to
you come.
jump in and take
Yeah.
that first step.
Yeah, but again, it requires bravery. So I totally understand when people like, I was on the same page, and like thinking, can I do it really, or my dress and my, other things and my feet, am I not fit? So you'll never find out. So that's why that, I wish, inshallah, that you will set up a club, and, carry on this,
That's
legacy.
what
So
my next question was, that what's your vision? Where do you see this going? And do you dream of expanding it and inspiring others globally as well?
absolutely. Oh, 100%. And it is already happening,
Mm.
I'm sure you've heard of Cycle Sisters. I know I've sent you a couple of guides,
Mhm.
There is amazing group in London, and I think they've got the kind of franchise to, I think, Leicester, is it?
Mhm.
And so they support ladies. So with us, obviously, I'm with the ACP, we are, as a group, is more or less established. At the minute, I am so busy with myself, so that my vision for future, inshallah, I will continue it, and it will probably grow. Where I live now, there is probably like two other hijabis in whole of the school, and it's a big 600 people school. So in my area, it's all the white. It's predominantly white. We got some Sikh community. We got maybe like Eastern European, just a few. So there is some immigration, but it is a predominantly white working class. So here I feel like, what can I bring to it really? But still I find, as I make friends, especially with my son's school, with I volunteer for the parents association for the group, like just like doing events at school. So this is kind of putting yourself forward and making this new connections with people who you thought maybe is nothing in common. but actually we still have the same talks, you know. Sometimes when we chat like off the main activity thing, you just find out it's the same thing. And then people find out, oh, you're cycling, you know. Oh, okay, so what is that, you know? Not even what is that, but
It
like how
opens
does it
so many
work?
doors of,
Yeah, yeah,
invitation to whatever you might be, promoting. It could be religion, it could be good conduct or whatever. I mean, like it brings
it is
so many
absolutely, you know.
opportunities on. And probably, people who might be wanting to connect to various groups of people where they're looking for some jobs or probably something like that, right?
Absolute 100%, you know, and this is the thing, it's an extra networking, and it is for me as a woman of, you know, Muslim woman and wearing a hijab, you know, some people, like people in certain areas, they're so unfamiliar with Islam. Nobody knew why I was wearing this headscarf. Nobody, they're like, oh, so what is it? Oh, is it to do with religion? Oh, is it, which religion is that? You know? So
Mm.
we think, oh, everyone knows Muslims. No, nobody. I wasn't Muslim one day. I didn't know Muslims didn't eat pork.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't assume everyone just to know you because, you know, okay, you're out of this Muslim people gonna treat you differently. It's not like that. So this is one of those really, really golden opportunities for me to, you know, kind of put yourself forward and present that, you know what, we as Muslim women, we like sports as well. Not necessarily sports, but, you know, going out, socializing, we do that as well. You know, we're just normal.
Yeah.
And so the aim really kind of
Mm.
hopefully in years to
Yeah.
come, is just to make it a normal thing for Muslim women
Yes.
to be seen on bikes, to
Mm.
be seen. I'm working on the project with paddle boarding, so
Okay, that's good.
doing water sports, maybe doing sailing, in, you know, it just has to be normal.
Yes, yes.
Having more gyms built for women only, with the women only facilities, all of that. So it is kind of the wheels are rolling. We just want it a little bit faster, probably.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the main thing is just we have to be there, we have to be visible.
Yes, Sister Alicia, with the whole conversation, I came to realize that even cycling, which has come up in this way of clubs and only for sisters, women only rides and things like that, have come up in a very recent time. So that's really surprising to me. And you still also face a few challenges during those rides. And
Yeah.
seeing the situation, as you said, that male-dominated society where they look at you with, some kind of a different tone. So it
Yeah.
definitely has a lot of challenges, and you being able to do that and trying your best to fit in and trying to make that visible, that Muslim women as well have the same kind of likings, or they might also want to go out, but they just don't have the opportunities. And I'm so thankful that ACP, Ashiana Community Service, has made that possible for women, and a lot of other centers as well in Birmingham, which I experienced. As you just mentioned, that Sisters Club in London is also doing a good job. Since I didn't have that much experience going to the other cities, I was just thinking that Birmingham has the best routes and best practices, because some of my friends who live in London, I've asked them if they've experienced some kind of cycling activities or something like this. They said no. Probably they're not interested, or they're so busy with their own,
Yeah.
commitments. So, can you just give some information about how it's in London?
So in London, oh, I think like you said, you know, in Birmingham is the best. You know, when I look at London, I look the routes they take,
Hmm.
because I mean they have this amazing central London, you know, on the doorstep. And when you're on the bike, because when you think if I'm driving into, I'm taking
Yeah.
the
And you're not
bus or
allowed with
the
the cars
tube.
in the central London as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's very difficult, you know. But on the bike, in one day, you can like really, you know,
The
within
important
not like
places.
crazy amount of fitness, you can explore this all so easily. And since I moved from London, because this I'm saying, when we lived in London, didn't even come to my mind cycling, because you think like where am I gonna
Mhm.
cycle? Now when I go to the same areas when we visit London, it's full of cycle routes, or cycle lanes, I mean.
So
And
have
I'm
you
thinking,
have you done that?
I haven't ridden a bike in London, no, not once
You
yet.
should
You
look
know, this
forward
is
to
like
doing that once. And
definitely
document
on my
your
bucket list.
ride. Document it.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. This is we're in the talks with the cycling sisters, with one of the ride leaders, and I said, look, we need to kind of arrange a day for us all to, you know, come and visit you, or you guys visit us.
Yeah.
So again, we are, you know, networking. We're trying to do
I hope
something
that day comes and that happens very soon,
and
inshallah. With this,
inshallah,
we come to our final quick fire wrap up question. One word that describes how cycling makes you feel.
Oh, do you know, this is like a very simple, just happy.
Happy, yeah, that's
Happy.
a complete word, basically.
Yes, yes.
One surah or ayah or dua that kept you going in tough moments.
Well, here is, because I'm not going to embarrass myself with my Arabic pronunciation, but generally it could be anything really. You say Bismillah, you pray with Allah. Sometimes I pray it obviously in my own language, and it's just the having the belief, the
That
belief I'm
connection.
doing the right thing, and saying, it will with Allah's, blessing, then it will be successful.
What's your message to the next generation of Muslim girls?
Just go for it, girls. Just go for it.
It's
Go
possible.
and achieve and have goals, beyond your motherhood. We have to be like, if we can, obviously, if we're fortunate enough, being mothers, wives, and all of that. But this goes as, as a norm. Obviously, this will happen. This is half of your deen, you will get it, then you will complete it. But inshallah, in future, have hobbies, do things that you love. It doesn't have to be maybe cycling, doesn't have, maybe you like basketball, just make it happen, do it, inspire others, because this is the thing, it's kind of like a ball rolling, we start doing one thing and then just so many other doors open, so we just have to go for it.
Such a powerful message coming from you, Sister Alisha. And this whole conversation has just changed the perspective or what I was perceiving the whole podcast to be like. But Alhamdulillah, we've touched so many different arenas and so many different aspects of of a life of a woman, basically. I was thinking we are just going to focus on cycling, but this cycling made us move on and look into the so many various aspects of our life and how it makes us grow, how it makes us a complete human, basically. Whether you come from a Muslim background or a revert background or any kind of a background, this is an
Anytime.
activity which connects people, which makes you healthier. And if someone had to take one sport, I think it could be one of the best sports one can take.
Yes.
And a place like UK is one of the ideal most places where I can say that activity like cycling can easily be commuted, and it can be borne by the human. Because here in India, what I experience is because of the heat, a strenuous
Yeah.
activity needs a lot of energy, lot of hydration, which needs some particular hours in the day that you can go and do it. Though we have a solar cycling track, which is a covered cycling track, but then the weather conditions have to be supportive enough. But Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful that we had such a conversation. In fact, I felt like we need to have more such, meetings and more such conversations where we talk about other aspects as well, not just cycling, but so many other aspects, like we were talking about how as a person you've grown through all these experiences, and coming from so many such a versatile background that you are from, it makes us learn from each other a lot, Sister Alisha. It really is a very fruitful session that we had today, Alhamdulillah. I hope that this inspires a lot of women out there who might be looking forward to joining such an activity and starting up something like this. And inshallah, hope to see you soon. And I hope if we can have an event in India sometime of veiled women coming together, because what Veiled Velocity has come up with is my brand, where I want to promote the same thought that a woman with all her abilities, she can achieve in various sports, whether it be, as you mentioned, the paddling, kayaking, water sports, cycling. Cycling is something that, like, if young women learned it as a child, it is more easier when they are grown-ups. But
Yeah.
learning it as a grown-up is quite difficult. So I think
But
it could be the
possible.
same for many other.
Yes, yes. Again, it's absolutely possible, Sister Alicia, and definitely it must have been a
Sports as
challenge for
well.
you.
But cycle is like, you have to balance. So in a later part of your life, it's so much difficult to learn balancing, and you teaching that to the older women is again a big challenge, I guess. And I hope and pray that this challenge becomes easy for you, and more women use your as much as they can, because I know of many sisters who live in Birmingham right now, but they don't have the opportunity to use it because of the time, because of the mindset that they have, they are not able to come out and use the facility. And just to let our audience know that I am in Hyderabad, and Hyderabad has the second largest solar cycling track, which is able to power 800 kilometers of street lights. Mashallah. And we have a dedicated cycling park in Hyderabad, which has thousands of cycles at their available. Okay, like how you said, have Hyderabad cycling revolution in Hyderabad, and we have thousands of cycles dedicated for this purpose, and there are so many who don't even know how to use them and how they can use the service actually. Now it's so much more easier with electric bikes provided
yes.
with a rental of hourly base. Okay, an hourly base. An app is there, smart bike app, where you can install in your phone and you can ride it anytime throughout 24 hours.
That's perfect.
It's such a nice facility. I couldn't have imagined Hyderabad would be the first in the area of India. Basically, India has its first solar cycling track. So I'm proud that I'm from that city, and they have an availability. But I am looking forward to bringing out our women and use that facility towards the best, and create a community. Probably in future we can join with your clubs in UK, and we can have a virtual community here then.
Yeah, inshallah. No, I pray for Allah, to give you all of the success, sister. And inshallah, that would be something, that's something you've taken from Birmingham and brought it to Hyderabad. That would be just so lovely, and amazing.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Sister Alisha.
Thank you so much as well for your time.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.